I live on the west coast of Canada in BC, and in BC there is loads of little islands that you can go to. And to get to those little islands, you need to take a BC ferry, which is a blessing and also a curse as well, because anybody who lives in BC will know that BC ferries are definitely not regarded very highly. Their services are not the best. They're consistently late. They are always delayed. Ferries break down, and then you're left at the terminal for the rest of the day and you're kind of stuck. Anything that can go wrong will go wrong with these. So while they are fun to be on, they are also quite annoying. So because of that, I thought it would be a really fun idea to take my brother and go on every single BC Ferries route on the coast of BC, which turns out that there are 30 of them. So we planned it out that we were going to do that during his spring break. We were going to go up as far as Haida, Gwaii. We were going to go to Prince Rupert. We were going to visit the top part of Vancouver Island in Port Hardy. We were going to go all the way down to Victoria and everything in between. We were going to, fully embrace all the different parts of the coast. And I was going to make a super sick documentary of this trip and post it on YouTube, and I was going to get 1 million views in the first minute. So this took me weeks to plan, especially organizing all the ferries too, because the northern routes, the ferries, especially in the winter time, which is classified as March, is still in the wintertime for the route schedule. Because of that, they only did about 3 a month. So it was very difficult to make it all work out. There was only one sailing that we weren't going to be able to do, which was Route 28, which is from Port Hardy to Bella Coola. Unfortunately, we weren't going to be able to do that route because the ferry that does that route wasn't in service yet. It was still being repaired, so it wasn't even running. So everything was booked, everything got planned, and then this happened.
COVID-19.
The COVID-19 outbreak.
Coronavirus.
It was getting pretty nerve-wracking because I already paid for the flight, I already booked some of the ferries, and I had paid for all the accommodations, so everything was pretty much paid for. On the flight, I didn't even pay the extra amount so it could be refunded, so, there's a little bit of pressure. But we decided to go anyways because we didn't think it was actually going to get that bad. We thought it was probably just going to fizzle out within a couple weeks or something like that. We didn't realize the full scope of the situation or how crazy it was going to get. So let's get on with the trip then. So on March 16th, me and my brother, we went to YVR Airport in Vancouver.
This is the final boarding call for Air Canada Express.
And we caught a flight all the way up to Sandspit, Haida, Gwaii. The funny thing is the tickets for that flight cost more than it would to fly to Toronto, which is like a 5-hour flight. And this was like a 2-hour flight. But this flight, we didn't even leave BC. We just went further north. So at 2 p.m. we arrive in Sandspit, Haida, Gwaii. When you're up there, it feels very remote. There's so many trees everywhere and there's not very many buildings. So you kind of feel like you're in the middle of nowhere. Haida, Gwaii is a group of islands and our accommodation was on another part of the island. So what we had to do was we had to get a shuttle to take us to Alaford Bay, where we would then take a little ferry. It's basically like a barge, but then we take our first ferry, check that one off, which took us over to Skidgate Landing, which is on another island in Haida, Gwaii. So on the islands, there's basically no taxis or anything like that. It's really kind of limited. You have to, maybe you could hitch a ride or something like that, but it's kind of hard to get around on it if you don't have a vehicle. You have to do a lot of walking. We had a motel in the town of Queen Charlotte, so what we did is we ended up just walking from Skidgate Landing to Queen Charlotte.
It's over, Anakin! I have the high ground!
But it was really nice. You walk along the road, which is right by the ocean, and there's lovely hills and mountains, and just it was so nice. Another thing we noticed along the way to our motel was that all the road names that we passed seemed to be really funny. They had really funny names to them. They weren't typical road names, as you would say, I guess, if there is a typical road name. So we arrived at our motel in Queen Charlotte, which had really big wall plugs. For some reason, we went to charge some of our devices and none of our charging bricks fit in the wall plugs. They would just fall out. So we just stayed in Queen Charlotte that evening, and it's very small there too. There's only a few other stores. There was a general store and some other restaurants. So for dinner, we ended up going to this Chinese restaurant and we got some veggie stir fry and some onion rings, of course, like you do. And then we went and bought some chips from the general store and watched our incredibly pixely TV for a little while. You looking forward to getting up early again tomorrow?
Oh, so excited. No, I'm excited to see what the ferry's like for an
8-hour or 9-hour ferry.
Do we have a cabin on there or no?
Yeah, we got a cabin.
Oh, okay.
Of course, I hooked us up with a cabin. Of course we got a cabin. Apparently you can take a shower on it.
Oh,
Have
what?
A shower. So we can have a
On a
shower
ferry?
on the BC Ferries.
Wow.
That's just
crazy.
like, that's one of my life goals, is to have a shower on the BC Ferries.
Well, I mean, you can, but...
It's not a life goal. We actually had to get up quite early because the next ferry we were catching was right back in Skidgate Landing. Since the ferry is one of the big ones that they take along their northern routes, it's actually called the Northern Expedition. But since we were catching that ferry, you actually have to get there 2 hours early to check in. And then we also had to factor in the 40-minute walk. So we basically got up at 6, which for some people isn't even that early, but you know, for us it was a little bit early. And considering we had also gotten up about 5 o'clock the day before, so you know, a lot of early mornings on this trip. And then we got to board onto the Northern Expedition, which was going to take us from Haida Gwaii all the way to Prince Rupert. So that was going to be quite exciting because that ferry was going to be 8 hours long. So when we boarded the boat, it was quite strange because about 6 other people boarded the boat with us. And this is one of BC Ferries' largest vessels. It can fit, you know, hundreds of people on it and tons of cars, like quite a few cars as well, you know. So it was really strange when they like said, okay, walk on passengers, you know, like you can go. It was basically like me and my brother and like 3 other people. And then there was maybe about like 5 cars that drove on too. So everywhere we went, there was like no other people. It was so strange. I don't know, it was kind of fun actually, you know, just walking around the ferry and not seeing anybody, just kind of having fun, doing what we wanted. Here's some shots of the ferry so I can prove to you that like nobody else was around. Nobody's in the cafeteria. There's nobody sitting in any of the seats, basically, except for that one guy there. So there are 2 sorts of cabins you can get when you go on those ferries. One of them is a cabin where it doesn't have any windows, and one of them is a cabin with windows. And it costs slightly more to get the cabin with windows. It was about roughly $110 or $90 without windows. But overall, I would definitely recommend, if you are going on those ferries, get a cabin. They're so much fun. If you can afford it, of course. It's not like a necessity to get one, but it sure makes it a lot more fun. The cabins are quite nice. You know, they have 2 single beds, they have a TV, and then they have your very own bathroom with a shower, of course. I'm gonna keep on saying that, keep on bringing that up, because there might be some people watching this wondering, can you take a shower on the BC Ferries? And the answer is yes, you can. And then we did notice that as we got more and more into the open ocean, because a fair bit of the journey is in more open waters, so it was actually quite wavy. Like,
To do more, a little bit more wobble.
if you were somebody who did get seasick, you would definitely not enjoy that part. Like, you would feel really rough. Like, it was like the ship was tilting quite a lot. There's a reason there's sick bags in the cabins. As we were coming into Prince Rupert, we passed this really cool container ship and container loading area, I guess, and a train with a whole bunch of cargo on it. So it was pretty cool. There was a lot of cool sights to look at. It wasn't boring at all. There was always something new to be seeing, I guess. Like, it was such a lovely day. Again, it was super sunny. We spent a lot of time, you know, walking along the decks, you know, just chilling out and looking at all the really nice sights and views. So that was definitely a highlight of the trip, seeing all those really nice mountains as we were coming into Prince Rupert. So then we arrived in Prince Rupert just after 3:30ish kind of thing. And from there we had to walk into Prince Rupert, which was another like 40-minute walk again. The ferry terminal isn't right in Prince Rupert. It's a little bit of a ways away from it. And when I was searching up, like, I tried to find the bus schedules for stuff like that, but like I couldn't find any. So I was like, yeah, we're just gonna walk it. And I didn't really want to spend all my money on taxis, considering they're like really expensive. Like a 40-minute drive in a taxi could be like over $100. So from the ferry terminal, we then took another 40-minute hike to downtown Prince Rupert, where we got to our hotel. So that's gonna be the end of part 1. I'm gonna break this up into part series so I can keep you guys waiting intently on what did they do? When did the trip go horribly wrong? You know, all these answers you'll find out in the next episode. So, you know, subscribe so you don't miss the next episode, and give this video a like if you enjoyed it.